We are live. The Big D thinks it is working, and the Big D apologizes for being late. He's had a few technical issues this evening, this being his first ever live stream, and he's not even sure that it is working. Yes, it is working. So here we go. Welcome, the Big D's first ever live stream on YouTube, and this is quite exciting. And the Big D is a little bit nervous. Thank you so much for joining the Big D on this broadcast, shall we see. We've got a lot to talk about. Manchester United, yeah. It's a big summer ahead of us, really, to be fair. Man United have got a lot to do if we are going to do anything next season. You know what it's like. It's been horrific. Anyway, tonight, on this boiling hot summer's evening in the north of England, we are going to be talking about the latest transfers, Mbeumo, Gyökeres. We're going to be talking about Cunha and Mbeumo as well, because the Big D has had a little bit of an epiphany, and he's been playing around with ChatGPT, and he has discovered something very interesting with regards to the stats and whatnot, and how it might factor into next season. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Ekitike? Is that how you pronounce it? The Big D's not sure as well. And I'm going to be giving my sort of honest thoughts on him, Gyökeres, and Osimhen, and who might be the best signing for Manchester United for this coming season. I will be taking any questions in the chat, so please put your questions in the chat. We're going to be talking ticket hikes. Sir Jim playing a blinder when it comes to the finances of Manchester United. And we are also going to be talking about Sancho and Berrada, seeing that potentially Man United could win the league by 2028. So I would like your thoughts on all of these different things. But yeah, this is it. We're going to keep this nice and simple, nice and short and sweet. The Big D is not going to take up too much of your time, because this is all new for the Big D as well as for his loyal viewers. And there are 4 of you at the moment. So again, please, thoughts in the comments and in the chat. The Big D is always interested in what is on your mind. Anyway, yeah, I mean, in terms of the latest transfers at the moment, I mean, we're talking about Mbeumo and Gyökeres, Ekitike. It's a really interesting name, that. Ekitike, Osimhen. I mean, things are a little bit in limbo at the moment. We came out strong signing Cunha, who, I mean, it's going to be a really good signing, to be fair, Cunha. If he can replicate 50% of his form from last season, that is still twice the improvement on our attack from last season. So he's been a good signing so far. And Mbeumo, see, I've kind of been sort of blasé about most things in the Premier League last season, because I was so depressed about Man United and how crap we were last season. I've just been in some kind of footballing spiral at times, you know, not bothered about anything else but this deep inner well of Man United nonsense. So I didn't really know too much about Mbeumo, really, until I heard that we were going to be signing him, potentially. And, I mean, his stats are absolutely amazing. He's got about 20 Premier League goals for Brentford. For Brentford. And I know Brentford did well last season, all things considered, but still 20 Premier League goals. So if he can bring 20 Premier League goals to Man United next season, I mean, wow, that is a dramatic improvement on our attack for the coming season. And I don't know. I mean, I've said this time and time again on previous videos that I've made, you know, all last season, really. There was always that bedding in process for Ruben Amorim and his new 3-4-3 system and whatnot. So we were crap at first, to be fair. Like, we were absolutely rubbish. There was no end goal in sight, and we couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, especially when we got rid of Rashford, which was fine, by the way, because at the end of the day, he just wasn't what we needed. But Come the Arsenal game at Old Trafford, where I think we drew 1-1, Big D was there. He was right behind the goal when Bruno Fernandes scored that awesome free kick. And unfortunately, he was actually queuing up for a hot dog. But nonetheless, I saw the replay and it was fantastic. And I just felt as though from that moment on, Man United turned a corner with regards to that 3-4-3 tactic. And we seem to have gotten used to it. However, we just didn't quite have enough cutting edge up front to be able to, what can I say, just put the ball in the back of the net. Unfortunately. The Big D's getting a couple of little messages in. Yeah, everything is all good. Anyway, yeah, we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. So we needed a goal scorer. That's what Man United need. That is our priority this summer. So I'm not surprised that we are being linked with Mbeumo, Gyökeres, Ekitike, Osimhen, all of these players, because all we need to skyrocket up that table is a regular goal scorer. I would argue we only need one, but if we can get three, so, Cunha scored about 16 Premier League goals, but if we've got Mbeumo who scores 20 Premier League goals, and then we get a number 9 as well. Like, let's say we got Osimhen in, and he scored 20 goals as well. Immediately, we are skyrocketing up that Premier League table into the top 4 places. And dare I say it, challenging for a title. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that, because I don't want to get our hopes up, because for the past 10 years, I've been saying next season is our season. And, there's been a couple of false dawns, like especially under Ollie. Ollie did well, but it's never quite caught a light. But nonetheless, this brings me into the next kind of thing that I kind of played around with today using ChatGPT. Now, what I did, I like ChatGPT. It's a very interesting as well as fun tool. I mean, you can ask it all kinds of questions. You can tell it what the 10 greatest actors are, the 10 greatest footballers, the 10 greatest toilet seats in the world are, and it will give you a detailed description of all 10 toilets, including all the rims and everything around it. But the point is, it's a fun tool. And one of the things that I asked it today was, assuming Man United got Mbeumo, and assuming Man United bought a regular number 9 goal scorer who scored, let's say, an easy 15 goals. So that would be, say, 15 from Cunha, 20 from Mbeumo. That's 35 plus, say, another 15. So that's 40. That's 50 Premier League goals. That puts us, and everything else stays the same. So Man United, the rest of the team, performs as it did last season, and all the other teams in the league performed roughly the same way next season as they did this season gone. Then that puts us in with a title shot. I mean, statistically speaking, that skyrockets us up to the top 2 places. Now, that's kind of like wishful thinking, to be fair. I do appreciate that. And the Big D could be dreaming. He could be talking nonsense. Probably am. But still, it's fun to do. Try it. Use it. Use your AI machine and ask it to simulate next season with Man United, assuming they got Mbeumo, Cunha, and a goal scorer that scored 15 goals. And if they all replicated the form from last season, Man United skyrocket up the table. And I don't know. One man doesn't make a team, but one man does make a difference. And if we bought 3 players that made a difference, then it's going to be a very, very different season next season. And I've said this before. I know that there's a lot of controversy surrounding Ineos and Sir Jim and the ticket price hikes and all of that, which I will get to later on. I can't help but feel that they have actually done really, really well in the transfer market so far. So far. And as we all know, managers, they live and die by their ability to get the right players in at the right time. Now, if you look back at the previous false dawns at Man United, let's go back to Ten Hag. He bought Onana and replaced David De Gea with Onana, thinking it was going to improve the team, and ultimately led to the sack for Eric Ten Hag because we were just atrocious that season. Just absolutely atrocious in the season that he got sacked. Well, I mean, sorry, he got sacked this season, but we were atrocious last season outside of that FA Cup win, and a big part of that was we didn't have a reliable goalkeeper in the sticks, so ultimately, I think Onana got him the sack. Onana and Højlund, maybe, although I would say Højlund didn't do it as badly as has been suggested in the, sort of in the media, so to speak. Before him, I mean, if you look at Ollie, he did really well in the transfer market up until he bought Cristiano Ronaldo, and then everything sort of fell to pieces. Louis van Gaal as well. I mean, he did really well in his first season, but then he had a massive clear out, and then we finished about sixth or seventh or something like that. So the point I'm making is the good news for Ruben Amorim is that Ineos seem to have done all right at the very least. I would say very good in the transfer market so far. I mean, De Ligt is a very good player, potentially world-class. I would say he's world-class. I mean, he's not in a world-class team at the moment, but I would say he is world-class. And then, who else did they buy? I mean, they bought Xerxes. I mean, he's shown some flashes of brilliance. There was a little bit of a bedding in sort of period for him, but he's done all right. Dorgu, I think he's made a big difference to the team. Him signing for Man United has provided a nice bit of width in that 3-4-3 system. And the 3-4-3 system lives and dies by its wing backs. And Dallow's all right on the right on right wing back. I mean, he's not Cancelo or Hakimi, but he's all right. So with those two players on the flanks, I mean, that's not bad at all. Ugarte is a good player. Who else did we sign? I can't remember. But the point is, they've done all right. And Cunha seems to be an astute signing. And if we got Mbeumo as well, I mean, that's a really, really good transfer window. But on top of that, we need a number 9 as well. We need a number 9. I don't want to see Højlund go. Don't want to see him go because with Højlund, with Mbeumo and say Cunha supporting him, as well as Bruno, who looks like he's going to be playing in central midfield moving forward, then, I mean, he's going to get a lot more service. And a lot more service for Rasmus Højlund. He just needs to stand in the right position and then he'll score goals. Because that's one of the things that Rasmus Højlund struggled with last season, getting in the right positions. But it also helps when everyone knows what they're doing in the specific tactic and whatnot. So, well, anyway, so Cunha and Mbeumo dramatically improve the team. If we get a striker that scores 15 goals on top of that, then we are laughing next season. But in terms of getting that number 9, if we were to get a number 9 to play alongside those players, I mean, the 3 names that have been mentioned, Ekitike, Gyökeres, and Osimhen. I mean, the first one, Ekitike, I don't think he's what we need right now. I'd never heard of him until he was linked to us, so I had to do a little bit of research, and he did really well in the Bundesliga last season, but he's only about 12 or something. The big D exaggerates. Of course, he's not 12, but he's young. That's the point. He's young. And he's about 7'2", and he's very skillful. He reminds me a little bit of Peter Crouch, but good, And he looks like a world beater in the German league, but he's another work in progress. You know, we don't need that now. We don't need another Rasmus Højlund. And if we're going to be sort of concentrating on working process strikers, then we need to stick by Rasmus Højlund because there's a player there. Rasmus Højlund is potentially a world-class player. He just needs help. He needs service, and he needs a more experienced striker to show him a thing or two, give him a little bit of positional sense, so a few tricks of the trade. And that's where someone like Osimhen comes in. Osimhen would be my number one choice anyway. I mean, he looks like an absolute world beater in that Turkish league. I mean, he looks like LeBron James playing basketball against dwarfs. That's the difference in levels from what it looks like from him playing in the Turkish league. So he looks perfect, primed to dominate the Premier League. The only thing that I'm worried about when it comes to Osimhen is he's got a bit of a temperament and he tends to fall out with people. But, I mean, they say that with Cunha, he's a bit of a character as well. But Man United love characters like that. I mean, look at the players that we've had over the years. We've had Cantona, we've had Rooney, we've had Roy Keane. Big personalities, big characters. So Zlatan as well. So Osimhen, Cunha, these big kind of personalities, players with character and personality, like Roy Keane always says, those are the kinds of players that we need. So maybe, just maybe, Osimhen might be the perfect fit for Manchester United. But we'll see. We'll see. So I would say Osimhen. I don't fancy Ekitike, especially for the money. I mean, I've heard fees of like 80 million bandied around, and I don't think for the start, I don't think we can afford 80 million on top of the 65 that we've played for Cunha, and probably the 65 that we're going to have to pay for Mbeumo. So I don't think he's the right fit for us at the moment. Osimhen, I think that could be doable because he's only got 1 year left in his contract, so fair enough. I mean, that brings us to sort of the favourite, and that's Gyökeres. I mean, I'm not sure about Gyökeres. I'm not sure at all. I mean, he could be one of these players that's a late bloomer. And I understand that he suits Amorim's system. He knows Amorim's system. He knows Amorim really well. Amorim knows him, all of that. But from what I've seen from Gyökeres, he's scored about 60 goals last season or something like that, but 15 of them were penalties for a start. And I don't know, it just seems a bit one-dimensional for Man United and for the Premier League. And it looks like to me that the Portuguese league seems to be his standard, his level. And a bit like Mario Jardel. Some of you sort of football connoisseurs or some of you viewers who might be similar age to me, I don't know if you remember Mario Jardel. He was an absolute lethal weapon in the Portuguese league back in the early noughties. But he never really sort of had his massive move. And I don't recall him having a massive move and sort of dominating the Premier League or La Liga or Serie A at the time. So I just get the feeling that Gyökeres has just found his level in the Portuguese league, and then that's going to be that. Now, I could be wrong. I could be talking nonsense. He could be an absolute superstar waiting to be born. And if we let him go to Arsenal, which is where it looks like he's going, and he scores 30 Premier League goals, then the Big D is going to look stupid. So I could be wrong. And the Big D will be the first to admit when he is proven wrong. But out of those three players, Ekitike, Gyökeres, and Osimhen, well, I have to go with Osimhen. He's proven, he looks the business, and he looks like he suits the Premier League. But what do you guys think? Remember, questions in the chat, thoughts in the comments, whatever is on your mind, let me know. And the Big D is more than happy to answer any questions. Let's just keep it civil. Let's keep it civil. There could be kids watching. It's not that kind of channel. Anyway, moving on. Fixtures. Yeah. Man United have got a horrific beginning to the Premier League with Arsenal first game of the season. I mean, personally, I don't care when we play anyone, and teams like Man United shouldn't care who they're going to play and when they're going to play them, so long as they're not playing like 4 games a week or something stupid like that. Man United, they should be looking at that fixture list that we've got right now and thinking that is a challenge. That is a challenge that we accept, and that is a challenge that we are going to excel in, and we should go for it. And especially if we get the transfers that we're trying to get, then that shouldn't be a problem. That shouldn't be a problem at all. And I mean, I've said this before time and time again. Like, everyone keeps on saying Man United need 3, 4, 5 transfer windows to make them title contenders and whatnot. I don't think that's true at all. That's not true at all. You just need the right signings. 3 signings transform a team, and Man United are more than capable of signing 3 players this summer. We've already got one. The second one is 80% there, fingers crossed. Anyway, and then we'll get a third one before August. So yeah. There's no reason why Man United can't sign 3 players that's going to skyrocket that team into the top 4 in the Premier League. So if we transform into a top 4 team, then why would we want to fear Arsenal? I mean, why would we? Bring them all on. That's what I say. And the only team Man United should be wary about, in my opinion, is Man City and Liverpool. I mean, because, credit where credit's due to the Scousers. They're a good team and blah, blah, blah. And they've got Florian Wirtz. I can't believe the Scousers got Florian Wirtz. He's some player, him. That was a blow, to be honest. That was a kick in the teeth. I mean, he's the perfect kind of player that Man United need at the moment as well. He's a scrolling number 10. So, but there was never any talk of Man United signing him, unfortunately. I mean, it's a shame as well, because 10 years ago, he'd be the first player that would be buying in the transfer window. But yes, they've got Florian Wirtz, and they've got Frimpong as well. They've just raided Bayer Leverkusen. And I mean, Frimpong's a good signing as well, to be fair. So they're going to be good next season. And Man City, I mean, last season for Man City was just a weird one, really. I mean, Pep had his divorce, and obviously all of that business with all of those, charges and stuff like that just took its toll on that team. So, but they're going to come back strong next season. But yeah, I mean, if Man United have only got 2 teams to be wary of next season, then I mean, that's not bad. That's not a bad first full season for Ruben Amorim. And if he can just get that team working together and add a little bit of magic dust up front, then we have got no reason to fear anyone in the Premier League next season. No reason at all. And those first 5 games should be a cakewalk. And don't forget as well, Ruben Amorim will have a pre-season this season. And we don't have any sort of European football next season as well. So that team is going to be fresh. And also Man City, they're in the Club World Cup as well. I don't know about the Scousers, actually. Are the Scousers in the Club World Cup? That is a good question. I'm not even sure they are. But point being, whoever is playing in that Club World Cup, they're going to be knackered next season. So when we play Man City, then, well, I mean, there could be a little bit of a hangover from America. So that'll just benefit Manchester United. So, yeah, fixtures. I don't think there's anything to be worried about there. Nothing at all. But, yeah, moving on. Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Well, I totally understand the animosity towards him. I get it. But I have to admit, the more I watch him sort of implement what he's trying to do, just taking the ethics out of it for a second and just looking at it from a purely business sense, I cannot help but think, well played, sir, because he has just looked at Man United in a brutally honest, cold light. Okay. He's understood that brand, that juggernaut, that money-making machine, he just looks at that and understands that it is costing too much to run and it's not making enough money. Relational to how much it costs to run. So he has stripped everything back, obviously, much to the chagrin of the fans and the people, some of the people that used to work there. And he played a blinder by talking to Gary Neville, pleading poverty to the world, saying that Man United were going to run out of money by, what did he say? October or something like that, something stupid like that. Absolutely no chance Man United were going to run out of money by that time. Maybe he was referring to the 300 million that he put into the club. Fair enough. But the club as a whole, no way. Man United have got too many sponsors. It generates too much money. Man United have got a sponsor for the urinals in the ground themselves. They've got sponsors for the socks. They've got the sponsors for the training kit. They've got the team sponsors. They've got the kit sponsors. They've got sponsors in China, in Japan, in they've got sponsors coming out of their eyeballs. They've got too much cash flow. Plus, also, they've got 3 brand new kits coming out every season that they charge £100 for. And that's just for a basic top, not even with the names on the back and the numbers on the back and the patches on the sides and the patches on everything else. They've got all and every other bit of merchandise that they sell all around the world, plus a global fan base of about 300 million fans. There's no way that team, that club is running out of money. And I haven't even mentioned the Premier League money that they get. And they've just had a massive run in the Europa League. They'll have got a few quid from that as well. So, no, he's done that for one reason and one reason only. And that is to allow him to have an excuse to streamline the running of the club, but also to give him the upper hand in any transfer dealings. Because where Man United have lost the most money, it's been in the transfer market. We've spent far too much money in transfer fees and agents fees, and also weekly to players over the past however many years, 10 years, that we've been sort of wasting money. Well, let me just pause there. Let me just see what some of the people are saying here. Famous number 7. What's my top 3 things about being a United fan? That's a very good question. Thank you for that question. Top 3 things about being a Man United fan. Oh, that is really good. Well, the 3 things that I enjoy most about being a Man United fan are, first of all, I love the history of the club, right? And we've just got this fantastic history of being down and out and then just making massive comebacks and proving everyone wrong. And that started with the Munich air disaster, where unfortunately that absolutely amazing team died in that plane crash. And then within 10 years, Sir Matt Busby rebuilt that side to conquer Europe. And I mean that's just probably the greatest comeback in football history. And just to put that into context as well, there was a team called I'm sure you've heard of the team Torino from Italy. I mean, they had a plane crash as well when they were the dominant side in Italian football, and unfortunately for them, they never actually made a comeback. It did change Italian football. I mean, go and look into the history of that. That's a really fascinating story. But the reason I'm bringing that up is that Man United were able to make a comeback after their plane crash and go on to be this fantastic team. And we seem to keep on doing that. We were out in the wilderness for years and years and years until Alex Ferguson came back and came over and took over the team, and then he brought the team back to being the dominant force in English football again. So and then obviously the great comebacks in the games. I mean, most recently against Lyon last season, where the big D was there, the big D was in the Stretford end. So that's just one example, and probably the most famous example of a great comeback for Man United when we play games was obviously the 1999 Champions League final as well. So that's one of the things that I enjoy about being a Man United fan, but also the players that we've had. We've probably had the best players that English football has ever had in the league. I mean, no other team in English football has had a player better than George Best. No other team in English football has had a player as great as Sir Bobby Charlton, and we've had massive characters as well, like Roy Keane and Eric Cantona. So, I mean, they call it the theatre of dreams for a reason. It's just these fantastic stories and these fantastic characters that we've had. And thirdly, probably the United fans as well. The United fans are just absolutely fantastic. I think they're absolutely hilarious. All the songs that they sing, and the great atmosphere that there is in all the pubs and stuff around the ground, and in the stadium as well. It takes a lot for the Man United fans to boo the team, and they just seem to have a good sense of humour as well, unlike some other fans, without naming any names. So those three things really, famous number 7. But let me know what your favourite 3 things about being a United fan are as well. But we've also got Caitlin as well. Caitlin, good morning, good afternoon, evening, glory, glory, Man United. Jim must also tell the Glazers there's no dividends. Yeah, Caitlin, yeah, thank you for that. Which brings me back to finishing off my point about Sir Jim playing a blinder with his interview with Gary Neville. Yeah, Sir Jim, he pled poverty, and he did that so he could have the upper hand in any transfer dealings with with agents and with other clubs for the players that Man United are after this summer, because there was always that 20% transfer tax that Man United used to always pay, and that seemed to happen when Ed Woodward took over as CEO of Manchester United. He just seemed to splurge money, and Man United just seemed to be the place to go if you wanted to earn a couple of quid. And it didn't really attract the right mentality for the club at the time, which it segues quite nicely into my next point, and that is Jadon Sancho. The only way Jadon Sancho is going to go to Napoli is if he takes a pay cut. I mean, how much money does this guy want? I mean, so this is what I'm talking about in terms of Man United paying too much money for certain players. And I cannot stand this attitude from some of these footballers, particularly in light of the way England is at the moment, with all the scandals and the way the government is running the country, and the cost of living going up, and you've got all these footballers, like getting paid £200,000, £300,000, £400,000 per week, and then moaning that they don't like where they're playing, and when they go on the pitch they can't be bothered to put the effort in and things like that. And Jadon Sancho, there's no reason Jadon Sancho shouldn't be playing for Manchester United, other than he just doesn't put the effort in. So, I mean, I understand why he doesn't want to take a pay cut, because if Man United have signed that contract, they need to honour it. But why don't Man United just sell him to Napoli for 20 million or whatever, and then just pay the difference in his wages for 12 months or something like that? I don't know why this needs to be a long, drawn-out saga, because we just need players like Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford and all the other ones that can't be bothered putting the effort in for Man United to just get out of the club as smoothly and as quickly as possible. Because, I mean, we need the right attitude at Man United. And just like, so the Big D's alluded to what the situation is like in the UK at the moment. It's a bit grim with everything that's going on. So people need a little bit of distraction and a little bit of respite from all of these kinds of things. So they want to watch their team. And it doesn't, I'm not even just talking about Man United here. They want to watch their team, whether it's Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle, whoever. And at the very least, they want to watch their team put the effort in and make the most of that privileged position that they've managed to find themselves in and entertain the fans. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. The reason these players are getting paid £300,000 per week. 300, just think about that. I mean, how much do you get paid per year, right? What is it? 30, 40, 50 grand a year? And some of these jokers are getting paid £300,000 per week to kick a ball on a pitch. I mean, it's insane and fair enough. Fair enough. But the point I'm making is, at the very least, put the effort in and entertain us. Entertain us. We are not entertained, to allude to the film Gladiator. Anyway, the Big D's getting a little bit riled up thinking about this. He really is. But, we've got another question from famous number 7. Big D, what's the best United kit of the Premier League era? Famous number 7 says they like the old black away kit. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I'm assuming you're talking about the one from 93, 94. Yeah, where Eric Cantona scored an exceptional lob over the goalkeeper against Southampton, I think, and he had blue socks on. Look that one up on YouTube. It was phenomenal. But yeah, that black kit, that was a good one. But the best United kit of the Premier League era, I'm not sure it's my favourite. I mean, we've had a couple of good, nice kits, to be fair. I liked the one from the 02-03 season. I've got that somewhere here. And I've got Van Nistelrooy 10 on the back as well. That's a really nice one. I also like the blue one from that year. I also like the blue one from the 08-09 season, which commemorated the 1968 team. I've got that one as well. And I also like the 1999 Premier League winning home kit as well, which had the collar and it had the little zipper collar as just on there. That was good. I really liked that one. And I had Beckham 7 on the back of that. And I also had the Premier League badges on the arms as well. And I've lost that one. I don't know what's happened to that one. I'm gutted about that because I went ratching around in my mum's airing cupboard on several occasions in the recent past, trying to find that one. And I've lost it. But those are probably my favourite ones. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've started getting into the more retro kits because I'm not a big fan of all these new kits that are coming out every season. It was better when we changed the kits every 2 seasons. But, God forbid, the club making even more money. So I'm not a big fan of paying £100 for a top that they're going to get rid of in 12 months' time, especially when they're finishing 15th in the league, So, yeah, I like that one. But then again, I might dabble for next season. We'll see. Keep watching these live streams and the Big D will display some of his retro kits over the coming days, weeks and months and next season too. But anyway, thank you for that question, famous number 7. These are good questions. Keep them coming. Anyway, on to the final subject for this live stream. And we are 39 minutes in. That has flown by on this debut live stream from the Big D. The Big D's popped his cherry tonight when it comes to live streaming. So thank you all for being involved in that cherry popping, whoever's watched this. And I'm talking to you, famous number 7. I'm talking to you. And I can see from the viewers, I've averaged around 8 viewers for the, for about 40 minutes. So that's not a bad start. I thought it was only going to be 1 or 2, but thank you for everyone who has watched it so far. Remember, questions in the chat. Don't forget to click like and all of that good stuff. It hasn't gone as smoothly as I would have liked tonight because I was going to have banners and I was going to have my Insta and my TikTok handles, but I had some technical issues and the Big D was a little bit late. So bear with the Big D on that front. If you want to follow me on TikTok, it's at the Big D _ TikTok. If you want to follow me on Insta, it's at the Big D _ Insta as well. And don't forget to check out my previous videos. There is a gold mine of content there, clips, commentary, and all that good stuff. And also footage from my seat at Old Trafford as well, from the Stretford end and other seats that I have sat at over the course of last season and seasons prior. So it's all good stuff. And if you've got any questions, any thoughts, any comments, let me know. Any criticisms, let the Big D know. The Big D can take it. The Big D does not have a glass jaw. So, yeah. Anyway, on to the final point. So, yeah, Omar Berrada. I mean, I like this guy, Omar Berrada. I mean, we poached him from Man City. I would argue that he was a rat that was leaving a sinking ship, escaping a sinking ship, so to speak. But we managed to poach him from Man City, and he's took over. And I like his ruthless attitude. Really, his attitude is that any players that we sign have 1, maybe 2 seasons to start performing, or else they're out. That's it. And I think that is fantastic, ruthless, fantastic. Anyway, he said that Man United should be winning the league by 2028. So that's 3 seasons. And that 3 seasons will go like that, to be fair. And I think that's realistic, to be quite frank. There's no reason why Man United can't do that. I mean, as I said earlier on in this stream, I feel as though we found a certain level of no, I don't want to say consistency because we were crap last season. What I mean is a certain level of understanding of the 3-4-3 system. But what we lacked was a cutting edge up front, because once that team learns how to put the ball in the back of the net, it gains confidence all round, and that confidence will just it'll just flow through that team, and everyone will just start playing better, and everything else will compound. People start working harder and becoming more competitive and whatnot. So if we can get that team magically scoring goals up front, then there's no reason why we can't sort up that team. But yeah, so I mean, as I mentioned earlier on in the stream, you know, one man doesn't make a team, but one man can make a difference. So a regular goal scorer and it transforms that team. And if we sign 3 regular goal scorers, which is what we could do in this single transfer window, then there's no reason why we can't challenge for the Premier League earlier than 2028. So yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there. I think 43 minutes is a good point to quit. I didn't think I would last 43 minutes. I thought I would dry, but I didn't realize I had a talent for talking nonsense for 45 minutes. But no, the Big D's not going to put himself down. The Big D has brutally honest takes. He has astute opinions, and he is on point. And Man United should be listening to the Big D, because if Man United listen to the Big D and they sign the right players, then Man United will improve. And I'm willing to take up that challenge. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, call the Big D. I will give you a piece of my mind. Anyway, please come back again. You are more than welcome. Remember, at the Big D _ TikTok, at the Big D _ Insta. Remember to like, share, and subscribe this streaming video when it goes, up on YouTube as well. Please, thoughts in the comments, questions in the chat. You know what to do. I'm sure you've done this before. The Big D thanks you for your time, and the Big D will see you in the next one.